Welcome back, and a very special welcome to our next guest. Her name is Kari Donovan. She has experience, like Dr. Michael Rechtenwald, with the left. She was, in fact, a community organizer, much as Barack Obama was back in the day. As a result, she has real insights into the nature of what the left is up to, and in particular, wanted to talk a little bit about something that, President Biden tried to persuade us, gaslight us, I think, was his true position on the police, which is that they should be funded, not defunded. Carrie, it's great to have you with us. Talk a little bit about what your investigations of the left's true intentions are with respect to the police, and in particular, a manual that you have found to be pretty illuminating about this, and perhaps about what Joe Biden is up to specifically.
Thanks so much, Frank, for having me. I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about this because I've been trying to get the message out for a long time. I was a community organizer. I worked with U.S. Congressman Howard Wolpe, who was working in the subcommittee for Africa with Jesse Jackson. That's when I really started to learn about the left's plans for the United States was basically what they were doing back starting in 1979 in South Africa. We know how that has, how that has transpired and what's happened, the consequences. In particular, I think that this particular manual, which you made reference to, and it's 146 pages, I think that this manual, which I found about 5 years ago, explains a lot about what the left is doing. And to me, this particular manual explains the grassroots marketing platform, messaging, branding, and PR, a lot of the narrative setting that the left has accomplished through the years. And I like how you said that,
So
Joe Biden was
this is entitled
gaslighting us.
"Organized for Change," and
Yes.
what it basically does is sort of provide a playbook for efforts like this concerning the police. And is it about funding the police, or is it about
No.
actually trying to dismantle them?
So this particular manual is a step-by-step guide on how to go into local community police departments and defund them using all of the left's tactics that they are very well known for. This
Give us
manual
some examples of them.
So in this manual, it tells activists, so regular people, how to use the media to set the narrative, to set the tone by going and finding somebody who's had a bad experience with the police. So we know that from what happened with Trayvon Martin. That's how Black Lives Matter developed. And this manual, which goes back to 2014 and was written by Kamala Harris's sister, Maya Harris, what is tells them how to take and exploit a situation and use the media, run with it, form the narrative, and then go in, get voters. There's a particular section here on how to get swing voters. So they're focused on elections and using these tactics to change everything. And so the defund the police movement has been around for a very long time. I found a reference to things in this manual from 2001 that say this movement goes back a long way. So when Joe Biden says that he's going to fund the police, well, he would be making a massive break with his Vice President Kamala Harris because, as I said, her sister wrote this particular manual right here, which is a policy link. And Joe Biden already has funded policy link um, organizations. So he is connected to this manual and to the movement.
Carrie,
Hmm.
let me just say, Kamala Harris, of course, was very forthright during the presidential campaign about her support for Black Lives Matter, for, the rioters that were taking cities by storm across the United States. And as I recall, she was very explicitly in favor of this defunding the police initiative, much as her sister has been. Just the bottom line, if you would, what is it that they envision happening when they defund the police? What is the larger objective of the left in which this is? being put into the
Yeah,
service?
that's a great question. So, in general, what the left wants is that the left claims that the US Constitution doesn't provide equity or equality to their special groups, which is why they have all these different identity groups. What is it that they want? Well, they exploit nonprofits. So they get a lot of money. So they want to make money, and then they want to change our republic into a democracy, or, rule by mob. And this is how they set out to do it. Basically, defunding the police, right? Is taking away the police is a great way to get that environment where they can really make a lot of strides in these changes that they want.
Yeah. So we've seen the effects of this in quite a number of cities across the country. This defunding or dismantling or retraining or repurposing or whatever you want to describe it as. And I think it's been a decided disaster for those communities. And it's my sense that that's precisely why President Biden, of course, is now trying to position himself in the State of the Union, at least, as being in favor of funding the police instead. To what extent, and we talked a little bit about this a moment ago with Dr. Rechtenwald, but in your experience with the left as a community organizer, to what extent is it really important for them to be clear among their own cohort, of course, about what they're doing, witness this manual, but to be opaque wherever possible, to be deceptive towards the rest of the American people, so as to conceal their true purposes and the upshot of them.
Yeah, you hit it the target right on the head, and you called it gaslighting. They're gaslighting us because they tell us what they think we want to hear, so that we will let our guard down, so that we will not be vigilant over our liberty, so that we will not push back on them. So they tell us things to comfort us and soothe us. In the meantime, in the back room, the smoky back rooms, they're doing exactly what they've always done, and that is what the left is very, very good at. They use messaging, branding, and PR to tell us what we want to hear, so that we are fighting amongst ourselves about, what they could possibly be up to. And in the meantime, the word is out. They all know. They all have agreed with each other that this is a war against the American Republic. This is a usurpation of our rights and the US Constitution. They've agreed upon it. They're morning to night, political activists, and they know that whatever is being said has not been changed. It's just to get us going in a different direction.
This is obviously conducive to success if they've thrown us off the scent and we're either fighting amongst ourselves over, for example, are we a systemically racist nation or not, while they are beavering away at what Barack Obama famously called the fundamental transformation of America. And very quickly, just in a minute or so, Kari Donovan, what is it that fundamental transformation would entail if it were successful, not just at the sort of micro level of the police, but the macro level, if you will.
Right. Well, my fear has always been, since going back to working with Jesse Jackson, what really alarmed me was the chaos. And if you look at South Africa, which I think is the model that the Democrats want to usher in to the United States, that there's chaos among the people while the elite are getting rich off of the natural resources in South Africa. So that really frightened me when I was a community organizer and I was a social worker. I went into social work to help people. And when I realized what you're doing is making more of a mess and endangering people, and actually stealing their liberty away from them, that's when I got scared and I said, this is not for me. But I think that the ultimate goal of the left is to basically usher in what we see happening in South Africa.
Which is a disaster for one of the most important and once prosperous nations on that continent. And it would similarly, I think it's fair to say, be a disaster for the United States of America, and for that matter, for the free world. Kari Donovan, we commend you for your coming around on all of this and for the courage you're exhibiting in coming forward and talking about what the true agenda is and why it is so antithetical to the interest of the United States and its people.